Welcome to Kcse English. In today's episode, we continue our discussion of Ole Kulet's Blossoms of the Savannah. In our last episode, we looked at a number of the themes found in this text. Today we will continue to discuss other themes and conclude by looking at how these themes are applicable to our society. With me to discuss this book is Madam Brenda Midika.
Thank you.
Madam Midika, welcome to our studio.
Thank you.
Madam Midika is a teacher of English language, and she is well versed with the setting of Kcse examinations. Welcome.
Thank you.
I remember last week we concluded on the note that there are conflicts between those who believe in modernity and those who believe in traditional African values in this novel. I remember you noted that it is a high time that students tried to look at the themes in relation to their society. Today, I would like us to continue our discussion by looking at other themes, including the women emancipation and how this is brought out in this novel. Apart from that, I think it will be necessary for us to look at issues of betrayal in this novel, issues of materialism, and what it does to an individual. We are also going to definitely look at the issue of patriarchy and how it affects the characters in this novel. But apart from that, issues to do with love and marriage and relationships will definitely come out of our discussion. But of importance, I think it will be necessary for us to look at the issue of violence and how it affects society and how it is brought out in this novel. But apart from that, I think we may want to look at violence specifically on how it is depicted in relation to women characters in this novel. Let us begin by looking at women emancipation. Pick it up from there.
Thank you, Professor. Remember, we have been saying that emancipation is the aspect of liberating yourself from something that you find oppressive. Now, Ole Kulet brings us a few characters who are liberating themselves, and especially the women who are liberating themselves from very, very oppressive cultures. Now, we look at Reziane as a character, and Reziane says that she is not going to participate in female genital mutilation, FGM, and so she does all that she could to save herself from the oppressive practice by running away from where she had been kidnapped by Olarin Koi from the Nkamuratani and liberating herself and finally ending up in Minique's farm. We are also looking at Minique, the woman who was gone to Makerere University, and she has come back with the hope that she is going to liberate the women in her society from this oppressive culture. Yes, she is a Maasai. She stays in the Maasai community. She is educated. She understands her community well, and that is why she runs after girls who are about to be circumcised, girls who are about to be foreign and forced marriage, or even who are about to be married, and takes them away to a rescue. And I think there are so many women in our society who are doing this, especially in the marginalized communities where they go and rescue the women there. And so these women are not just doing it because they need to do it, but because of the liberation that they want to liberate fellow girls and fellow women from the oppression.
Well, I think what you have touched on is something very pertinent in our society. And I think we mentioned it last time, that if we have champions in our society championing women's cause or the cause for girls, championing the education and liberation of girls and women, then we will be in a position to liberate our society. But as we noted, there are few champions, especially male, in this novel, to champion the rights of women and emancipate women from patriarchal structures. But having said that, I think it is a collective responsibility. And the students should be able to now bring out issues that relate to emancipation. So they should point out, so and so does this, and here he or she helps emancipate women. And so those examples must be teased out of the novel. What we are doing at this particular juncture is just to open the novel for discussion. The whole idea of rescuing girls from a society that should protect girls is a serious matter. It's a matter that is actually a strong indictment of our society. And the author is actually telling us, you must be ashamed of yourself for doing this to girls. But having said that, I think we may narrow this to betrayal in our society. And you may pick it up from there, but from the word go, betrayal is at a number of levels.
Yes.
So you may pick it up from there, but one thing that I can point out clearly at this particular time is that when it comes to betrayal, if there is any serious betrayal in this novel, is the betrayal of parents. Parents betray their children. Parents betray their daughters. And this is also a very serious indictment of our society. Maybe you may want to shed light on this as we open up the text for discussion.
Betrayal actually, as you're saying, comes from very different levels. We are looking at betrayal at a family level, betrayal at a society level. We are looking at political and economic betrayal in this text. Now, the way you have mentioned that, the betrayal at a family level, yes, what is a mother and a father supposed to do to their children to protect them from any harm? Do the Olekaelos do this to their daughters? They don't actually do that. You see, the children have to run away from their parents. Now you see, even the smallest, Rezian, the younger child there, from her birth, the father detested her. You see, with the hope that she would actually be a boy, but ended up being a girl. And it is from there that this hatred, I don't understand, I'm yet to understand what kind of hatred that would be this much, that the author even says that if the father is in a position to dispose her off to Olosudori, you see, to bring her, to sell her off to Olosudori. So betrayal at a family level. We are looking at betrayal at the society level. What are the fellow women doing to the other young children who are coming up, who are girls? They are busy betraying them. Look at Mama Milanoi with the other women. She organizes for her daughter to be picked for FGM. You see, together with other women. We are looking at the economic betrayal. You see, Olosudori, a scrupulous businessman, gets a very, people who are very vulnerable give them contracts, and then begins to blackmail them. You see that kind of betrayal there. You see, even we also look at it in terms of the political betrayal there, where the leaders in this text, no single leader has come out to speak against this practice. So the community is actually left on its own when you look at those different aspects of betrayal. Maybe you can say something about that.
Yeah, I think having said that this is a strong indictment, and when you look at this novel, it is actually telling us it is a time for this society to reflect on what it does to girls and to women. But you have pointed out something that is so serious. What is this that makes a father detest the daughter so much to the level where you want to dispose of this girl? It is all built in patriarchy. We have for many years, all these years, believed that a boy child is the best thing that can ever happen to a parent. And when you do not have a boy child, you say you don't have children. In fact, our people say, if you have, say, one son and 8 daughters, you say he has 8 girls and 1 child. You know, you get the point.
Yes, yeah.
You know, it's really ironic, but it manifests itself in African literature.
Yes.
If you look at Things Fall Apart, for example, Okonkwo looks at Zinma and says, "I wish she was a boy." Basically because of the premium we put on boys. But you have also pointed out something about leadership. The problem with our society, the problem with the society in this book is that it lacks leadership.
Yes, yeah.
And learners should now open up the text, look at the realities in their society, and point out areas where there was lack of leadership in society. You find ethnic clashes, and we'll come to that. And when you look at the ethnic clashes in our society, you realize they have been instigated by the leaders. So again, this novel should enable us reflect. And if you notice the kind of questions we are asking students, especially at Kcse, we are trying to have them bring this understanding to their reality. But you had also pointed out something about materialism, although you didn't say much. In terms of materialism, we are talking about a society that is corrupt, a society that is immoral, a society that doesn't put premium on truth. And that is why we have put a lot of premium on materialism at the expense of our moral uprightness. You can sell a girl and get some cows. It really doesn't matter. What you are interested in are cows.
Yes.
But anyway, you may want to shed some more light on materialism as you look at issues of male chauvinism.
Yes, we are talking about this deep desire for material things, deep desire for wealth. We are looking at Ole Kaelo himself, you see. He really wants to be this successful man that he has been outside there. And so this material desire is not just for getting it for your own, but because you want to show others, you want to show it off there. And so he is ready to do anything to sacrifice her daughter, to see the house that Olosudori is building for her daughter. And it is also coming in with the issue of male chauvinism and patriarchy, whereby a man wants to show off the wealth that he has, you see, because it is attached to that, you see. And so it is this materialistic behavior that is making Olosudori to behave the way he is behaving, because he knows, I have the money, I have the power economic power that is needed here. And so I will go to somebody's house and demand that her child should serve me the way I need to be served. And even if I do inappropriate acts, this girl is not going to object because I have the wealth.
And the power over her.
The power over her. And so it is with this kind of treatment whereby when men have money and when they have wealth, they believe that they can get anything, and including women. You see, because this power, this economic power that they are getting is the one that is now giving them the power to dominate over the women in the society. And so patriarchy, male chauvinism, and materialism, they still go together hand in hand, because we are talking about patriarchy, a society where the men have the economic, social, and political power. And because they have this power, which comes with material things, it is accompanied by wealth, they can dominate over the women.
Now, there is something else. As we talk about power, as we talk about materialism, as we talk about patriarchy, there is an underlying issue that also emerges from the text, the issue of change.
Yes.
Whether we like it or not, society is changing, and we are not going to stop change.
It's true.
And therefore, this theme of change also complements the idea of liberation.
Yeah.
We are now seeing more girls rescued. We are seeing some people coming out to say, no, we are not going to continue this way. We must take a new trajectory.
Yes.
As we ask our students to think through the areas where this comes out in the text, maybe you may want to just give one or two examples related to change and how it's being manifested in this text, so that now the students can open it up and give more examples.
Yes, we are looking at a change in the way that the women characters are saying no to this oppressive regime. And so the change is that with the Resian coming out and going to get an education, she is coming back to the society to change it, you see. And so when women characters get out of this oppressive society, they bring in the change that is needed in that community. Now, what the author leaves us with this question, that the author leaves us with a high level of suspense. We don't know what will happen to Ole Kaelo and Mama Milanoi and the other members of the community who are the perpetrators of oppressive, negative cultural practices. And so it is up to the students to actually do what you are saying, to interrogate and to even question if indeed there's this complete change that will come out after the two girls go to school to seek an education and come back empowered more.
And you know, what it does is that when it ends with that ambivalence, we are now bringing the students to the level of creative writing. They can then imagine of a situation and see how the future will look very with that kind of subject. But to conclude, I would like you to just briefly shed light on women oppression and violence generally, and how it impacts in this novel, so that we conclude our discussion on themes.
Yes, I would talk about women oppression when we look at women in the marriage. Does it mean that when women get married, they become subdued to a figure that is there? Does it mean that? Are we teaching our children that once you get married, your work is to go cook, serve the food, and then do the dishes and do the rest? You can look at Olarin Koi, this strange character that comes into Ole Kaelo's house and just expects to be served. Where is the meal? He gets angry when the meal is not there, you see. And so the women there, if it is in polygamy, are they happy? we should be asking ourselves that question. Yes, if it is even in perpetuating this FGM, are they happy? Because we come to learn that the main origin of FGM from the legend of Olarinkoi was to come away from these men who were oppressive. But now, you see, has this liberation become a liberation, or it has become an oppressive tool? This is one question we should asking ourselves again. Now look at the women like Monique. Are these women happy in their communities? Even though they are fighting, are they happy? The oppression that they are going through. The men even sing a song of 3 women who they call the wasps and the mice, because they are fighting against the oppression of women. Now we come to the issue of violence, the cattle rustling, the fighting that goes on, especially because of the cattle. Is it really the way that we should bring out peaceful relations? And now, before I finish up, there's always this very interesting thing that our students like, the theme of love. You see, you talk about what is the most memorable thing about this text? Joseph Pamwat and Tayo. You see, when Tayo goes to Joseph Pamwat and cries and tells them, I want to love you. I will not run away from you. I want us to go together and fight this oppressive culture together, because we love each other. Yet culture says that they are brothers, and there's a brother and a sister there. And now we are taken through all of this journey where Tayo has finished crying and Joseph Pamwat has inappropriately said or indicated that he's going to love her, and then Joseph thinks about all of this thing and thinks about the struggle that he will go through, the kind of punishment that he will go through, which is actually a violent punishment. You see, the kind of punishment that he will go through, and he actually, the author finishes up by telling us Joseph Pamwat declined her love. You see, and so it's a very nice text for students to think about and to interrogate, question some of these things that the author is bringing out here.
Thank you very much. I'm happy that you have brought out the issue of love, because very many students confront this. And there is something in literature that is so important. It's called intertextuality. Some text talks to another text.
Yes, yeah.
See, when you read Blossoms of the Savannah and you encounter the story of Joseph, your mind quickly takes you to the river between. And you see the love relationship in the river between. There is a relationship between these 2 love relationships. And therefore, as students interrogate this text, they should come to terms with their emotions and appreciate the idea of love holistically. It is not as narrow as some people may think.
Yes.
On that note, we come to the end of Kcse English, in which we concluded our discussion on the themes in Blossoms of the Savannah. Join us again next time when we continue the discussion of this novel. And this time round, we will be focusing on characterization. With me in the studio is Madam Brenda Midika. Thank you very much for finding time to share your ideas with the students in the Republic of Kenya. On behalf of my crew, Neka and Papi, I would like to invite you to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. It is all free. If you subscribe to this channel, you'll be receiving our updates on the kind of products we are producing for your consumption. I am Igara Kabaji.